Hey everybody, what is up? Welcome to episode 46 of Teach Play Disc Golf. I'm your host Antonio and I'm so excited to have you with me here today. Today's episode is going to probably be on the shorter end, at least that's what I'm hoping. Episode 45 was the first time I recorded an episode in 8 months, talked a little bit about some stuff and reintroduced a couple things, and now we're back in the full swing of it. So I'm super excited for this show. We're going to talk about generating power on your putts as our disc golf skill. Okay, that's what we're going to start the show talking about. And we're going to review the Clash Discs Berry. I have it right here with me. I am super excited to talk to you guys about this neutral to overstable mid-range. So let's go ahead and let's get right into it. All right, so generating power on your putts. A couple ways that we think that we need to do that. Whether you're a push putt or a spin putter, the main area of power is going to come from your lower body. But whether you're a push putter or a spin putter, we often make a few errors when also trying to generate power in other parts of our throw. So for this section, we're going to talk about how to generate power properly and then some of the things to avoid. So first and foremost, you want to generate power with your lower body. You want to get your legs involved. Whether you're a push putter or a spin putter, using your legs is going to generate the most power and the most consistent power without changing a lot of your form, your putting form. The last thing we want to do is do something that's going to hurt our routine, hurt our form, and change things up on us. If we're constantly changing how we do something, it's hard to establish a baseline and it's hard to get good at it. We want to find a consistency. So once you have your putting form down and you feel confident in it and you commit to that putting routine and that form, increasing your lower body is one small change that shouldn't throw a whole lot off. Because when you generate more power with your lower body, whether it's squatting more, leaning back, rocking forward, whatever it's going to be for you, it does not require you to change what you do with your upper body. So if you're a push putter, you're typically going to squat further down as to load up, and then you're going to pop forward or pop up without your feet leaving the ground to generate that extra power. A straddle putt for a push putter especially, this is often going to lead you to do more of a jump putt when you're outside of circle one. Inside of circle one, you obviously have to keep your feet on the ground. That sort of straddle position, squatting, trying to get that extra explosive power leads you to a natural tendency for jump putting outside of circle one. But you want to drive from the legs. You want to get in that deep squat position, and you want to lift up and sort of have that disc come out first. Now, that's for push putting and a straddle putting position. If you're a stagger putter like me, you have one foot in front of the other. You can still generate power by squatting. It's just some different positioning of your feet. But something that you'll see is that a lot of stagger players, to generate power, I'm talking like Ricky Wysocki, James Conrad, as they are stagger putters, they often drop down. So they're bending at the hip and the knee a little bit, but you see them sort of do more of a rocking motion. And that rocking motion for those for the stagger putters, and whether you're a spin putter or a push putter from that position, it doesn't matter. That rocking motion, you have a you have some variation in that, how much you rock forward and down to get that additional power. That is a tendency that a lot of players will have when trying to generate more power with their lower body. They'll put their back foot a little bit further back. That way they can get a deeper rotation as they're coming down and really be able to scoop the disc and get the disc out. So that rocking motion, your feet will change a little. Now, if you are a stagger putter and you're squatting, you're going to be able to generate a lot of power with that as well. Just that sort of split squat, you're going to have to get comfortable with that because it's a little bit different than if you were straddle putting and you have, obviously both your feet are parallel to each other. That's a little bit more of a firm, solid base. So if you don't like the squatting putt on the stagger foot, try that rocking motion that we see players like James Conrad and Ricky do. Now, everybody pretty much knows for the most part that if you want to generate power on your putt, you're going to use your lower body. That is not necessarily That I would say, yeah, this is common knowledge. Not everybody may know it, especially if they're newer to disc golf, but for the most part, disc golfers know generate more power with your lower body. Okay, cool. Here's the thing. A lot of players will then, this is some of the misconceptions, will also try to generate more power on their putt with their shoulder, with their elbow, with coming more to the side and spinning the disc more. Whatever it might be, they try these things. And if that is not how you normally putt, that is going to create more problems. You're going to have inconsistent power. It's going to mess with your routine and the commitment and your confidence in your putting because you're doing a lot of different things that you don't normally do. So what can you do? The second way to generate power, and really I think it's one of two ways to generate power, legs and this, is in your fingers and your fingertips specifically. Whether you're a push putter or a spin putter, if you want to generate more power, you need to use your fingertips. Now, it's not a putter, but I got the Clash Disc Berry here. For those of you watching on YouTube or looking at the video on Spotify, we want to generate more power with our fingertips. And the way we do that is by having them not completely fanned out. A lot of times when we go to putt, one of the things that we've seen people do for a long time, coaches and professionals, is they have their fingers completely fanned out underneath the rim of the disc, underneath the flight plate. And while that's great, it's horrible for generating power because your fingers are fully extended. There's nowhere else for them to go to generate power. But when you're trying to generate power, you want your fingers to almost be a little more closed. Not quite a modified fan grip, definitely not a power grip closed, but we want them to be a little bit closer to the wing of the disc. And this kind of gives you a little more bend in the fingers. And so when you go for a spin putt especially, now when you pop your fingers out and straighten them out as the disc releases your hand, they're generating that extra power without taking the disc off the line. By using your fingers a little bit more in your putt, you're going to generate that extra power. You're going to generate a consistent putt. And it shouldn't really be pulling the disc off the line. If you try using your wrist, if you try using your elbow, if you try using your shoulder more than you normally do on your putt, you probably find yourself yanking the disc to the right for a right-handed putter or to the left for a left-handed putter. But when you go and start using your fingers and popping them, you're going to find that it's not really pulling the disc over one way or the other. It's just adding a little more power behind it on the path that you've set before it. That's what we want. We don't want our legs and our fingers to change the trajectory of our putt. If you putt like I do, straight at the heart of the chains, the middle of the basket, the last thing you want is to do something that's going to give you power that makes you start having to aim to the right or to the left of the chains. I'm a firm believer that you want to find a spot that you target and do what you can to always hit that spot, no matter how far away you are. Now, from some distances, having the disc get higher up and sort of fade into the basket is going to be useful. But inside of circle 1, inside of circle 2, you want to aim at the heart of the chains, or wherever you're aiming, you want to do whatever's going to keep your aim spot consistent. You don't want to have it change when you're trying to add power. And that's why using your legs and using your fingertips are going to generate that consistent power without changing the trajectory of the disc going to the basket when done correctly. Now, if you pair the fingers with the wrist, you're going to start yanking the disc. So, one of the ways to know, okay, how can I practice this skill? How can I get good at this? Calvin Heimberg has talked about it. It's taking a disc. It doesn't matter what disc, but obviously if you have your putter, that's good. And just kind of like popping it up in front of you with just your fingertips. Obviously your wrist is going to be moving a little bit, but this is a way to get comfortable with how it feels to sort of have those fingers bent on the putt and then pop them forward. And you really want to try to just use your fingertips when adding this power. You want to minimize how much extra work your wrist is doing because your wrist is a hinge joint. And on the putt, as it's going to the basket, it's opening up towards it. Well, if you start to overextend or over open, so to speak, your wrist, you're going to start missing right for righty putters and left for lefty putters. So you want to try to really keep it just with your fingertips, okay? You want to have it be consistently going up and down. You shouldn't have to catch the disc to the right or to the left. So that's something that you want to practice to get comfortable with this. Now, For a push putt, you're going to be able to fan your fingers a little bit more, in my experience, than a spin putter to generate power because you're more about up and down. But for the push putt, to generate more power, you obviously have to get the legs involved. You also have to get more ceiling because that push putt is vertical. It goes up and down. So to get more power, the easiest thing to do is to just get more height, because the higher your push putt goes, the further it should go. If you have a ceiling, if you're not able to just putt as high as you want, you have to make some modifications to your putt. And this is why I actually switched from a more push dominant putt to a spin putt, so I didn't have to deal with all these modifications. But if that's what you do, you push putt, some of the modifications you're going to have to make is maybe adding more of a spin element to your putt, or by doing more of a nose down sort of Ricky Wysocki style rocking back. And so if you normally are straddle putt, you might have to go for more power to a stagger putt so that you can rock backwards and then pop the disc out forward without having to change exactly what you're doing. You can still do your push putt that way, but the disc is getting a little bit more momentum built up behind it as it's able to travel further back and then come forward on that rocking motion. And it doesn't require nearly as high of a ceiling to do that. Now, the push putt, you can still get a little bit of your fingers involved there to really help get some spin. You know, a push putt, while it's more vertical up and down, it never just flies like a knuckleball through the air. It's a disc. It's still going to rotate. So getting a little bit of that spin power with your fingertips is going to help the push putt as well. But one of the bigger things that you can try is actually going from a straddle to a stagger and see how that works for you. Everybody's different. Everybody's going to find something that works for them. We just want to find what works for you. And if you don't know what works for you, then you have to try a couple different things. That's all I got for you today, everybody, with generating power on the putts. Let me know in the comments below, how do you generate power on your putts? And what tip do you want to learn about in a future episode? But for now, let's go ahead and let's talk about this really cool mid-range that I got here, the Clash Discs Berry. All right, I'm super excited to talk about the Berry. It's a disc that I recently started throwing and messing around with, and I was pleasantly surprised. I know this is back-to-back episodes now. For episode 45, we talked about the Jester Disc Golf Wild thing, and now Clash Disc Berry, another disc that I'm saying I'm pleasantly surprised. I did a Clash Disc review several months ago, sometime in 2024, with a bunch of discs that they sent me. And the Berry was a cool one, but I couldn't quite figure it out. And I tried it again recently, and it's a really cool disc. So the Berry is 5 speed, 5 glide, -1 turn, and 1 fade. Here's the thing though. This is in the steady ring plastic. So those flight numbers are not true. You see, the steady ring is a newer blend, a newer plastic they have. It's that same feel as the steady, but it has the rings. And from what I've learned in my experience and what other people have said on my Instagram when I asked about this, the steady ring is the most overstable plastic. People actually said that the tone plastic, the one that I have the Clash Disc Salt in, is actually on the more understable side. So this Berry that says 5.5 -1 1, I would argue it flies more like 5.5 -0.5 or -1 2. It's going to be a little bit more stable. This disc has fade at the end. It's not a crash and burn fade. You're still going to get a little bit of hyzer flip. You're still going to get glide down the fairway. But once it slows down, it dumps, okay? And when I was bagging this, I had this disc as my neutral mid-range. I had the Bobcat on the overstable side and the Jester Disc Golf Peace Train on the understable side. This disc definitely did not interfere with the Peace Train. Okay, the Peace Train is far more understable than this. And it didn't really interfere with the Bobcat because the Bobcat is just way more comfortable for the forehand. But on the backhand, I did feel like, okay, this has a little bit more stability than I was expecting. So if you're a power thrower, throwing your mid-ranges, 350, 375, you would probably like the Berry in this more stable plastic because it's going to fly a lot straighter for you. If you want a disc that's truer to the flight numbers for the Berry, you're going to want the either regular steady plastic or their sunny plastic. But overall, I really like this. It is a beadless mid-range. It feels very comfortable in the hand. The thing that I, was bagging it for a little while. I'm not currently bagging it anymore, but I was bagging it for a little while. And the reason I liked it is because the wing shape and just the hand feel is very similar to the Peace Train and similar to the Bobcat. They're all beadless. They all have a nice beveled edge. They're smooth in the hand. And so the hand feel was very consistent for me, which I loved a lot. I thought I really liked that element in my mid-range lineup. But the flight of this disc in particular was not what I was wanting, but that's because I was wanting something straighter. I didn't want it to be a turnover machine, but I just didn't want it to be quite as stable as it was. I would throw it nice and straight, and right when I was ready for the disc to just finish and barely hyzer out, it would dump a little bit more than I wanted to. And that was getting to be a little frustrating after a couple rounds of it, because while I could work through that and beat the disc in and those kinds of things, I was like, there are discs out there that do exactly what I want, and I just have to find that. And so I'm currently trying another mid-range. I won't reveal what it is yet. I'll save that for another episode, but I'm trying another one that's really good so far. I'm really enjoying it. It's not a disc I ever thought I would throw. I actually hated the hand feel when I first came across it a couple years ago, but I'm really liking it now. But for now, the Clash Discs Berry, I would say, is a pretty good mid-range overall. I think with the variety of plastics, it's accessible for all skill levels. Like I said, power throwers, people who are throwing, mid-ranges over 350. I think with this particular steady ring, stability is going to be perfect for you to get a nice straight mid-range flight with just a little bit of fade at the end. If you're throwing 250, 275 with your mid-ranges, this is probably not going to be the straightest mid-range for you. You might like this for your more overstable slot, but for a straight flyer, you may want to try a different plastic. And so that's okay though. I like having the same mold in different plastics for different stabilities. I really like that because when I find a hand feel, I want to keep that, and that's why I have so many Bobcats and so many different plastics. But anyway, while it's not in the bag for me, I see a lot of value in this disc. And so I definitely would encourage anyone who's looking for this disc or a disc like this to head to GottaGoGottaThrow.com. They have a couple berries in stock in both the steady ring and the steady plastic. You can check them out there. And if you're there, you use the link in the description of this video that has, /Gladiator. That'll take you right there and it'll give you the discount automatically. But if you go on your own to GottaGoGottaThrow.com, make sure you use discount code GladiatorDiscGolf. You get a percentage off on your purchase, and part of your purchase actually supports me as well. That's one of the cool things about working with GottaGoGottaThrow is that you are directly supporting me when you purchase discs from them. And so we can keep this podcast going and the channel going and all those things. So if you've done that before, I really appreciate you. Thank you so much. And if you haven't done that yet and you're looking to, and you want to try the berry, head to GottaGoGottaThrow, use Gladiator Disc Golf, save a little money, and support this channel. That's all I have for you today, everybody. I hope you enjoyed this episode. I have really enjoyed being back into podcasting, and I really hope that you've enjoyed these episodes as well. Today we talked about generating power on your putts. The two takeaways: use your legs and use your fingers. We do not want to use the wrist, elbow, and shoulder. It's going to take the disc off the trajectory that we want it to be. We want it to go straight at the basket, and using those other hinge joints and other, multi-directional joints like your shoulder, it's just going to pull the disc off the line when you try to add power. It's going to make it more unpredictable in its flight. So use your legs, use your fingers to generate more power, and try out the Clash Discs Berry. And if you don't want the berry, try another disc at GottaGoGottaThrow. I think you'll like them a lot. And that's all I have for you today, everybody. Remember to teach someone how to play disc golf this week. We want to encourage someone. We want to share a disc with them, share this video with them to help them on their putting. Try not to be too passive aggressive, trying to tell someone that they need to get better at putting, but this could be the episode for them. So you can share this with them. Make sure you yourself get out and go play some disc golf this week. I know I'm looking forward to it. So that's all, everyone. Have a great round.